Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Now in ENC segment. For those of you who have maybe never tuned into a Now in ENC segment before, it's a semi-newer segment that we're doing here at WNCT to dive into some local events, local topics happening here in the East, and bring on some special guests to further those conversations. So today I am joined by the medical director for the Vidant Dialysis Unit, Dr. Graham Byram. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to have you joining us. And we're going to be talking about some upgrades that you guys are having at the Renal Dialysis Unit at Vidant. So let's get right into it. What kind of upgrades are you guys doing, and how is this going to benefit patients?
Well, we basically have moved from a really small unit, which was actually designed when the hospital was built back in the, I guess, late 70s, early 80s, and have moved to a different spot in the hospital, much bigger, much more centrally located. And much nicer than the previous one was. And that, I guess we've been here about a month and a half or two.
Gotcha. And so what do some of those upgrades look like? Is there bigger space? Is there more, access for some of these patients to get the critical care that they need?
Much bigger space, much bigger space. Again, centrally located in the One East Tower. So I think the benefits start from when they leave their room. In the past, we've been having to bring them down really early in the morning, say 4 o'clock in the morning, to get the dialysis done. Now with more stations, we can bring them down at a more reasonable time, give them a chance to eat a little bit of breakfast before they come down. The rooms where we dialyze them are much larger, much nicer, much quieter. They each have their own television they can look at if they want to do that. Before we had individual little iPads they would look at, didn't have many of those, so that's much better. And once they leave, again, it's the trip back to the room is not quite as far because we were not very centrally located before. It's a big, long hospital, so big, wide hospital. So it's much better now for the patients, just from transportation here, the experience here in the unit, and also transportation back to their room.
Absolutely. And for maybe somebody who doesn't know what dialysis is, or renal dialysis in particular, could you give a kind of a summary or an explanation to what you guys do in your practice every single day?
Yeah, the patients we dialyze here in the new unit are on hemodialysis, where we actually hook them up to a machine, and the machine pulls blood out from an access, usually a catheter or access in their arm, and runs it through a filter and cleans it and removes poison buildup, potassium, and just fluid, that sort of thing. It's for patients who've had what we call end-stage renal disease, where the kidneys have failed over time. It's a lot of it in East North Carolina. Mostly related to high blood pressure and diabetes. Now, the patients typically will dialyze 3 times a week, sometimes more often, depending on the situation. Each treatment is usually 3 to 4 hours at a time. And they dialyze as an outpatient, normally, if they come to the hospital for some acute illness, say a heart attack or a stroke or something like that, we'll support with the dialysis while they're here.
Absolutely. Well, I think that was all the questions that I had for you about this new upgrade. It sounds very beneficial for patients and for you guys in your practice and how you're able to care for these patients. So this sounds really beneficial. Was there anything that I didn't ask you, or any other information that you wanted to give about this upgrade, or about, the practices that you guys do in the dialysis unit at Vidant?
Yeah, I think, we were very busy here. When the hospital was first designed, we probably took care of maybe 200 to 300 dialysis patients in the Pitt County and Greene County area. Now with 29 counties, I think they're probably close to 4,000 dialysis patients in that area we are responsible for when they come to the hospital here. So this is a very much needed and very welcomed addition, and it will enable us to provide much better care, I think. Plus, the people who work here, the nurses and the physicians and the other healthcare providers, are, I think, much happier, and that makes our job a lot easier too.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Byram, for taking the time out of your day to speak with us about this. I really appreciate it. And great job for, the care that you guys will be able to provide in the upcoming months and weeks and years to come with this new unit. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to talk with us about this. And thank you guys for watching another edition of Now in ENC, and we'll see you next time.